Welcome to Science with me. I'm your host, me, and her.
Me.
Today's special is Newton's 3 laws of motion. Our first guest is the one, the only, Jade Jackson.
So, can you tell us about the first law of motion?
The first law of motion is that an object at rest remains at rest unless acted upon an outside force, and an object in motion remains in motion unless acted upon an outside force.
So, can you tell us about this first law of motion?
Well, one example of this law would be a ball at rest that is put into motion when a soccer player, which is the outside force, acts upon it. And another example would be a bike in motion that comes to rest once it hit like a pile of snow.
So, can we see some clips about this?
Take a look.
Thank you, Jade, for all this information.
Thanks for also being on our show.
You're welcome.
Welcome, our second guest, the most awesomest Amanda Cifelli.
Woo! Yeah, Amanda!
Hello.
Hi. Can you please tell us about the second law of motion?
Yes, Newton's second law of motion states that acceleration is dependent on the mass of an object and the outside forces acting on that object.
Can you show us some examples of this law?
Examples of this law would be moving two different objects with different masses or throwing two different balls with different forces.
Thank you. We're so thankful to have Amanda Cifelli as one of our special guests. We want to also thank you to her.
Thank you for telling us those laws.
Thank you for being on the show.
Welcome, our third and final guest, Alexis DeFallo,
Woo!
or known as Lexi DeFallo.
Hello.
Hi, can you tell us the third and final law of motion?
Yes. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Can you show us some examples of this law?
One example would be as a hose is turned on, the water coming out is the force of it is equal and opposite to the person being thrown backwards. A second example would be a person walking on the floor.
Lex is turning on the water now. The water is on now.
As I walk, the floor holds me up. It is an equal and opposite reaction.
Well, it's been a blast, Alexis, and all our special guests. Well, now, it's sadly time for you to go.
Thank you for being on our show.
You too. Well, that includes our episode of Science Air with me. A special thanks to our sponsor, Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Force will remain. What?
Wait, what is it?
An object. An object will remain at constant.
Thank you for
I'm going.
Lex is turning on the water now. The water is now on. React.
Well, it's been a blast.
Can you tell us some examples of this law?
I need to go over.
It's not going.
I swear, if my hair gets wet.
Water and would be as a person turns on a. Where do I even look? At you, the camera.
Either one.
And it's like, we're gonna go back to commercial, folks.
As I walk on the ground, the floor is. I can't.
Can you? No. Do you? Can you show us? Thank you, Dave. No, you know.
Item.
Tum.
Final talk.